guys, my name is Rage and we are back today with an exciting Dark Dimension 4 video guide and playthrough here. In today's video, I'm going to go through and play the node for you guys, but let me show you first the 5 characters I'm going to utilize as well, and then we'll dive right into the gameplay. So if you guys may or may not have checked out my preparation video, I've already outlined why I'm bringing these 5 characters at the top, but I'll just quickly go through each screen so that way you can see the ability levels, upgrades. As you can see, Mr. Sinister, T4s on both his ultimate as well as passive, and the level 5 ISO 8 healer on him to provide sustainability and healing. Next, we got Symbiote Spider-Man, and really leveraged his T4s here on his basic, his ultimate, as well as his passive, as well as the level 5 ISO 8 Raider, just to apply that vulnerability. And you're going to see that it's going to synergize extremely well with Ghost Striker. Next, we got Emma Frost here, the T4s on both for special and ultimate to maximize value. As well, she's going to provide additional healing with the level 5 ISO 8 healer as well. Next, we got Ghost here, level 4 Striker actually. Didn't push it all the way yet for the video, but that's quite alright. As well, you can see the T4 was also on her Quantum Explosion Ultimate, just maximizing damage overall. Last but not least here, Black Widow. Actually, no T4s on her abilities. She operates quite well without it. Really because her abilities shine truly when she's in Avengers team, so that's why we didn't really take advantage of the T4s, but you can see with her as well, a level 4 ISO 8 skirmisher to apply the vulnerability, really giving Ghost that extra room to kind of work with in leveraging her her striker. So those are the 5 characters here. Let's dive now right into the gameplay. For me, I found that my Ghost actually kept dying, so unlike my first node, I am swapping places with Symbiote Spider-Man and my Ghost in this. As you can see here, she was just getting attacked a lot more than I expected, so that's a change right there, different from my previous node. On top of that, again, I gotta stress this, you guys, make sure you're referencing Dutch Rudder's DD4 guide. I'm gonna have it in the description below for my video, just due to the fact that he's done a lot of research in terms of navigating the waters of which characters we gotta aim for, especially in this new Dark Dimension mode where they have the characters, as you can see here, Doctor Strange and being able to activate a special continuously, as well as Elsa. Those are the 2 targets we want to watch out for, but the 2 we want to take down right from the beginning is going to be Doctor Strange as well as Star-Lord. As you can see here, because of Doctor Strange and Elsa being able to actually use their abilities continuously, we do want to stun them, but also keep in mind Star-Lord's got his energy regeneration for his team, so he's not someone we want to ignore either. So really take advantage of the fact that you have Black Widow to activate, her skirmisher, be able to apply that vulnerability there for Ghost to extend negative conditions, as you can see, to make a 1 stun turn into 2 stuns instead. On top of that, every time you get a chance, the clone target I am actually focusing with my Mr. Sinister is going to be their Mr. Sinister. Reason being is because we can build an army of Mr. Sinisters, and by having Mr. Sinisters on our team, we can really pivot ourselves to and adapt to the battle situation depending on what we got to face later on in the waves. Bearing that in mind, also recall that Emma Frost, her ability to actually utilize her ultimate has a blind, and as well, she also actually does damage with the mind control. So it's really nice that we can utilize that fully. After Doctor Strange is down, the next key target is going to be Star-Lord, in my opinion, just due to the fact that he has the regen. Although Elsa has repetitive abilities, so as long as we keep stunning her and reducing her speed and turn meter utilizing Ghost, it's not going to be an issue in my opinion. The only other thing to be kind of mindful of is Drax does have his taunt, so just make sure if you guys don't have Emma Frost on your team that you have someone being able to kind of strip away the taunt, because I find this wave is going to be very, very brutal if Drax keeps taunting and you're not able to take down the targets that you need. Moving forward here, you can see we go ahead now and actually finish off Star-Lord as the next target, again, because of his energy regenerative abilities. And now we can actually focus on taking down the enemies that have high damage and as well being vulnerable. So in my opinion, Elsa's blinded, not a big deal, but she's close to death already. And the fact that she can actually repeat her abilities, that's really why we want to take her out. On top of that, you can see Rocket Raccoon is also weak as well. And keep in mind, you guys, this is again one of those fortunate waves where the next wave actually does spawn after this wave, so we don't need to worry about counting the number of enemies, unlike DD3. And then finally, when it's down to these 4 being Ghost Rider, Sinister, Black Widow, and Drax, honestly, smooth sailing. I would actually take down everyone else but Mr. Sinister, and main reason being is because we want to be able to clone as many Sinisters as we can, as you can see from the army that I've got slowly building up. Reason being, it's just because with Mr. Sinisters, they can adapt to the situation, they can heal each other, and as well, if any of our guys fall, they can just clone someone else that we can utilize. So very, very adaptable. You can see from this wave now, there are going to be a couple of characters we got to be mindful of that have repeat abilities, and it's going to be Hela, and it's also going to be Mysterio. Therefore, I would actually focus on taking down Hela. As you can see, fast forward to save you guys a bit of time here. She is the one that I stunned and continually inflicted negative conditions. Again, combo that up by utilizing Symbiote Spider-Man to extend the negative conditions, as well as using Ghost's abilities to control the turn meter. Keep in mind, Graviton's the ones that has the slow and the stun, so those ones we gotta be careful about. If you can get a chance to stun them or blind them, it's better for our team overall. Once Hela's actually down, in my opinion, the next two targets, consistent with Dutch Shredder's guide, is taking down Blob as well as the Gravitons. I think they're really great targets because of the fact that, you know, Blob has a lot of, he's really tanky. He supports with the assisted attacks, especially having Toad. And on top of that, Graviton's got the stun and slow. So those guys are the ones we want to be mindful of. Unlike the first wave, we can actually only take down 3 enemies. So one down already with Hela. The next wave actually does spawn at 24 enemies. So keep in mind, we want to take down 2 enemies. In my opinion, I would recommend the Gravitons, Blob, or as well as Pyro, just due to the fact that they have the stun, slow, and damage. Mysterio's got the repeat abilities, but he's honestly not really a key concern. Now, I'm not sure if this happened to me earlier, but they actually prompted quicker than I imagined. So you can see here, we actually do see the new wave of being a Pyro, Graviton, and Toad added to this mix. So really, we got to really focus down on taking down the guys that are already weaker, right? So those Gravitons, the Pyro that we see that's still stunned, the Blob that's still sticking around, but there's going to be these new guys we got to be mindful of now. So in my opinion, we got to finish off what we started. Now that we've cleaned up the board a little bit there, thanks to that amazing damage, this wave is nice in the sense that we can actually clear the board before the next wave does spawn. So really take your time here. In my opinion, like I said, I believe Blob, Torch, and Graviton were the key targets. You could honestly just leave the Toads. They're really squishy, and they don't honestly do too much. Really synergizing with Blob was the key there, but fortunately in this wave, they're not a big deal. Because of my team and synergy, I was fortunate to always be able to actually have a stun available. So that's why I didn't mind actually leaving Graviton on the board for myself. But just keep in mind, if you guys don't have a stunner like me, you may have to take them out sooner rather than later. So now, again, at 17 out of 34 enemies left, you can see that we are up against a Graviton that has consistent ults again, as well as another Pyro. So with this wave, it is a little pesky in the sense that it starts off with the Drax, and we gotta almost kind of have to reset the board here. So I start off with my Symbiote Spider-Man, inflicting damage, and we can't really do too much until the taunt's been removed. And then once you're able to actually bypass Drax's taunt, you can see the first guy I do aim for is Doctor Strange. Again, because of his reviving capabilities, the fact that he can flip our positives to negatives, it's really nice to take him out of the way first. But you can see I've already set up a very beautiful situation on this board. I was able to clone a Doctor Strange. I have a lot of negative conditions here because I was able to use Mr. Sinister to clone a bunch of Gravitons on my team. So that's how I would focus if I were you guys. The Gravitons really help the stun. And again, with Symbiote Spider-Man as well as Ghost extending the negative conditions, we can really put ourselves in a position where essentially everyone's just stunned and waiting for us to build our turns up, and we just keep doing it, especially with Ghost being able to reduce the turn meter for them as well. And it is a little sneaky in the way to set up this node because at 15 out of 34 enemies, they do actually spawn an Elsa, Star-Lord, and a Rocket Raccoon. So just you'll be able to see this pop out in the video recording here. But just keep that in mind when you're going through because they kind of come out of nowhere and sit in the back. So that's where they are right now. You can see. Again, I would actually still focus on taking down the enemies that are already weakened. So high damage dealers such as Torch, Elsa, I would get rid of them first. Ghost Rider and Drax are a little tankier, so I would leave them for later, especially if you guys don't have them decrease as much as Elsa and Torch. And honestly speaking, once they've been cleaned up, we can really go ahead and just finish off the damage dealers as well as energy regeneration, such as Star-Lord and the Rocket Raccoons. Again, I just got super lucky in the sense that I was able to clone a couple of Gravitons before they fell, and now I actually have access to a Star-Lord, as you can see in the top left corner, and a Doctor Strange. So, I mean, this node is really all about, in my opinion, Mr. Sinister is the key target. to bring on board for your team, and because he creates so much versatility in what he can actually do in terms of battle and adapting to the situation that we need it. Really, that's what set the pace for this node. You can see in the beginning waves, I was setting up with the Mr. Sinister clones, and if you guys have access to him, I do highly recommend him because he really did streamline and make this node quite feasible and easy to go through. And similar to the previous waves we faced, we do just have to clean up the board here, which will then finally spawn the last wave. And it's going to be consistent with what we've seen before. You're going to see a Star-Lord, another Hela. We're going to see Pyros, Blob, a Graviton that can repeat his abilities, as well as Mysterio. So keep that in mind. Again, the Star-Lord's going to be pesky. It's going to be the same group and mixture of characters, but we already know the drill. We're going to aim for Star-Lord. We're going to aim for Graviton. The torches come after due to their damage. And as well as Hela. Keep in mind, Hela's a little hidden in the back there, but she's another one that we got to aim for as well, just due to the fact that she's got Greg and she can spread negatives. So we rinse and repeat with our stunning squad of Symbiote, as well as our Graviton that we've cloned, and as well as Black Widow. So keep in mind, again, we're going to aim for Hela. We finished her off because it also takes down Greg. And now you can see most of the guys on the team are stunned because, again, I got super lucky in terms of being able to kind of adapt to the situation. We also added a Hela on our team too, right next to Mr. Sinister. So just a great mixture that we got here. And again, Mr. Sinister is the one that makes all this possible, as well as combined with the manipulation abilities of both Ghost as well as Symbiote Spider-Man, extending the negatives. And honestly speaking, once Star-Lord goes down and everyone else is stunned, it's pretty much smooth sailing at this point. 5 characters left. I personally would leave Blob and Graviton last, especially if they're stunned. The torches do damage, so I would aim for them first. But really, at this point, if it's the last 5, for you guys, just take down whoever's weak, right? There doesn't have to be a strategy for this last wave, just due to the fact that we can kind of see what's coming already. And if you have a stunner, it's even easier. Again, reminding you guys, make sure you're saving your abilities and your energy leading up to the last 2 enemies here, just due to the fact that we're carrying forward into the next node. It is going to be the final node that we can utilize this mixture of non-trait characters. So we essentially, for Dark Dimension 4, we can use any characters so as long as it's applicable in the first 3 nodes. So it's going to be the last time we can take advantage of that, but just a heads up, I still think it's quite reasonable. So definitely compare to Dark Dimension 3, especially the first few nodes there. I think that having the synergy and roster, it's fun again in the sense that the characters and the strategy is really, really important, especially if you want to make it through these nodes, having these enemies with such significant health pools as well as damage. That being said there, that is the completion of Node 2. Just going to quickly show you guys here. It was actually a one-shot. Again, if you have Mr. Sinister on your team, I think he's going to be really the MVP for this node, just due to the fact that he can really pivot to the battle situation. As you can see there, one attack, 38.95 million. So very, very reasonable, like I said, in my opinion. And just for reference in my videos, you can see here days logged in 516. So same as my Node 1 because I did it on the same day, but just to give you guys a sense of where I am, especially as a free-to-play player for reference. So as always, you guys, do appreciate you checking my videos. On to the next one. And as always, I'll see you next time.